Hello everyone. Welcome back to Loving Tsholofelo. I'm Pamela. Tsholofelo Logote. Thank you for returning. Last time, I left you with this thought. And I'm kind of paraphrasing, but I said something like, a flower doesn't announce that it blooms, it simply blooms. And perhaps that's how healthy relationships are. Easy to overlook until one day you realize you're standing in the middle of a beautiful garden. That thought stayed with me. Because if we're honest, most of us learn how to recognize weeds long before we learn how to admire flowers. We're taught to watch for warning signs, to notice what's unhealthy, to protect ourselves. And those lessons matter, but I've started wondering how many beautiful gardens I have walked past because I was too busy looking at the weeds. A gardener understands something I'm only beginning to learn. Healthy things don't spend their lives trying to prove they're alive. They simply grow. A tree doesn't wake up every morning wondering whether it's enough. The flowers don't compete for the sun. The rain arrives, the roots reach deeper, and little by little, life becomes visible. Not because it shouted, but because it stayed. Perhaps the green flags nobody talks about look a little like that. Someone whose kindness doesn't depend on their mood. Someone whose words and actions tell the same story. Someone who doesn't make you question whether you'll be watered tomorrow. Someone who creates space for you to bloom instead of asking you to become someone else. I've realized that the greatest green flag isn't excitement. It's peace. It's discovering that your heart no longer has to stay awake through the night. It's noticing that your nervous system finally exhales. Like a garden that no longer fears the changing seasons because its roots have grown deep enough to trust that spring always returns. Maybe that's what healing gives us. Not perfect gardens, better soil. The wisdom to stop planting ourselves where nothing can grow. Because even the healthiest plant will eventually outgrow the pot that once held it. Not because the pot was wrong, but because the roots were always meant to keep reaching. And perhaps we're like little butterflies too. A caterpillar doesn't betray the leaf when it grows wings. It simply becomes what it was always capable of becoming. It doesn't return to crawling, not because it despises the ground, but because the sky has become part of its nature. Maybe that's why some relationships, some places, And even some versions of ourselves begin to feel unfamiliar. Not because they changed, but because we did. Healing doesn't always change the world around us. Sometimes, almost always, it changes the person walking through it. So today, I'm leaving myself with this question. Maybe you'll carry it home with you. Am I holding on to a life that my wings have already outgrown? Today, this was one of the ways that I chose to love Tsholofelo. Before we leave the garden, I've been thinking about something. When a butterfly leaves its cocoon, it doesn't mourn the caterpillar it used to be. It simply flies. Perhaps healing asks the same of us. Not to forget who we were, but to have the courage to become who we are. Next time, let's reflect on you cannot heal in the same story you're trying to outgrow. Until then, keep watering what gives you life. Grow deep roots. Grow gentle wings. And don't be afraid to leave the garden that was only ever meant to be the beginning. I'll meet you in the next reflection.